Here we are. We got it. The Western Conference Finals of 2025 is set. We got Anthony Edwards versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be facing the Oklahoma City Thunder. A matchup we did not expect necessarily. We thought it would be the Lakers. We thought it'd be the Warriors. We thought it could be the Rockets. Timberwolves were overlooked out of the lower quadrant. But yeah, here we are. Now we got the Timberwolves facing off against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm going to talk about it and predict who's going to win this series. I want to say, I don't know who I'm going to predict right now. The more I talk about it in this video, the closer I will be to deciding it and then ultimately deciding it. All I can tell you right now, it's going to be a 7-game series. I don't see any way this isn't a 7-game series. Both teams are too good defensively. They're too good at home, and they're too good in terms of being connected on the offensive end. Now, right now, I will say the Minnesota Timberwolves are the more connected team. They're way better connected. Julius Randle, he's been amazing. You could make an argument that he's been the best player for the Timberwolves. Now, would I go there? Would you go there? Probably not. Anthony Edwards is generational. I mean, he's one of the best players. That's all NBA first team player. But the way Julius Randle's played on both ends, he's been one of the best defenders in the playoffs. He's been one of the most important players in terms of triple doubles. He's basically done Draymond Green as a competent scorer for the Timberwolves, if you had to make a estimate on or a comparison to what he is, because Draymond Green has been amazing in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, not Draymond Green. I mean Julius Randle. Sorry. It's been a long day. But yeah, Julius Randle's been out of this world. Anthony Edwards has been amazing. He's been electric. There are conversations of him being overrated. We'll see if he's overrated or not by how he handles the Thunder defense. Because the Thunder defense, they got shot blocking, they got perimeter defense, they got the best schemes in the league, they got the most bodies to throw at Anthony Edwards. They wore down Nikola Jokic, and once they figured out how to physically beat on Jokic in Game 7, it was wraps for the Nuggets. Since those schemes they had, Alex Caruso guarding Nikola Jokic turned out to be one of the best decisions for the OKC Thunder run that ultimately put the Nuggets away, I should say. That's the type of team we're working with. Oklahoma City has 25 players on their roster that is only allowed to hold 15 that can play both sides of the ball. Now, are they great offensive players? No. There's a reason we think they're handicapped. I mean, J-Dub outside of Game 7, I mean, J-Dub had every other night, it felt like he played well. J-Dub is so inconsistent. I'm going to start calling him day-to-day J-Dub. That's how inconsistent he is in the playoffs. Mind you, he's 22, 23 years old, so I'm not going to go too much in on him, but bro, oh man, Game 6 per se, man, oh man, you redeemed yourself in Game 7, but there wouldn't have been a Game 7 if the J-Dub we know and love showed up in Game 6. We're going to need that J-Dub against the Timberwolves, all right? I'm not a Thunder fan. I know I'm saying we, but I'm talking we as NBA fans. All right? You got J-Dub playing well. If J-Dub plays how he plays in Game 7, OKC is going to cakewalk to the finals and win it. That's how confident I am. Because SGA is not getting stopped. SGA is the best player in the playoffs remaining. He's going to be the first MVP to make it past the second round in like 10 years. I mean, it's ridiculous the bad luck the MVPs have had of late. But yeah, SGA on another planet. If he has J-Dub show up, this has been the same thing we've been talking about all year long. If J-Dub shows up or a second option emerges for OKC, they're going to win. But OKC's been winning. They've won against Denver when SGA and J-Dub have shit the bed. Well, mostly SGA shit the bed in certain games, and then J-Dub shit it in others. But they're able to win when other players don't show up. When J-Dub and SGA don't show up, when one of them's off, they've still won. That is massive for this team, especially with Denver. I'm not going to lie. I thought whoever was going to win that Denver OKC series was going to win it all. I mean, now I got to reevaluate since there's some things that I think Minnesota can exploit, and I'm not confident. I'm not fully confident about that anymore. But yeah, it's definitely it's scary to see how OKC could really win games without one of their best two players showing up. They had one show up, but not the other, and they still got it done. OKC, you look great, but I want to talk about the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves we're going to sit here and talk about the Thunder's defense being so good. We're going to talk about how connected the Thunder are, how good their systems are. But the Timberwolves are just as good at all those things. They just don't have the number of bodies, and they don't have the consistent shooting that you expect. See, OKC is not a high volume 3-point shooting team, but they are a good 3-point shooting team, if that makes sense. They're an efficient 3-point shooting team, I should say. They're not going to just sit there and chuck, but if you let them get hot, they're going to get hot, and they're going to just put you away by the 3 ball. Minnesota does not have that luxury. Sure, they'll go on insanity runs from the 3-point line, but Minnesota, they've shown us they will fold, and they go on slumps, like 3 of 27 shooting from downtown, and they're not going to stop shooting the ball since all the schemes run against them focus on doubling Anthony Edwards, making wide open shooters available. Like, teams have had no problem leaving the Timberwolves wide open. It's just because the Timberwolves have had such such bad mismatches on the interior that it's been no problem with them shooting these threes and missing them. It really hasn't been. They're not going to have that luxury right now with Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. I mean, Chet Holmgren, if he plays the 4, Julius Randle's going to destroy him. Isaiah Hartenstein, I think he'll be fine against Rudy Gobert. He's definitely not going to let him go for 27 and 24 or just do what he's been doing, even though Rudy Gobert has proved himself on both ends. Rudy Gobert is a switchable defender now. Think about that. This decoy that's been winning every year has been virtually unplayable in the playoffs because he can't switch, and now he's switchable on defense. That's just ridiculous to me. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is the Timberwolves, they have been able to expose a lot of weaknesses with their prior matchups. The Lakers, they had 2 cones on their team, always on the court, and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, and the Lakers had no size, so they embarrassed the Lakers. You look at the Warriors, no Steph Curry, that played a huge role, but Julius Randle literally just asserted himself the whole series, and when that happened, Rudy Gobert was able to take off too. There was no answer for either of those 2 players, and that's ultimately why they beat the living daylights out of the Warriors, because of how well they dominated the interior and exposed the weaknesses of the Warriors. They've exposed both weaknesses. Now, the one weakness with OKC that you can expose is how they do not always show up under the bright lights, and they are very young. Timberwolves are the more experienced team. Timberwolves were here last year. So I look at it, OKC, they don't have the experience. Now, Alex Caruso proved that he can handle the experience for them all postseason so far. And I think after game 7 and like just playing Denver, a very experienced and difficult team to play against, OKC's finally unlocked that experience for a little bit. But Minnesota, if they want to win this series, they're going to have to exploit that. They're going to have to amplify the physicality that they've been dominating with all postseason in order to make OKC uncomfortable, turn the ball over, lose their heads, and just show their youth. That's the best way they can beat them. They can make it a 3-point run and gun game. They're going to lose that if you're Minnesota, because OKC, they're not high volume shooters, but they are good shooters. Minnesota, you are not good 3-point shooters. You don't have the ability to just pick on one player like you did against the Lakers, because there are no cones on OKC. There are also no strict like offensive liabilities. Everyone's capable on both ends of the floor. They have a very deep team. You just have to hope you can turn them over and expose their youth. That is the best way forward. You can't expect that the Minnesota Timberwolves win this series without exposing the youth of OKC. Literally, we can talk about Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all we want, because that's what people are going to watch. You have defense, and you have the physical defense, and you have the experience to make OKC be exposed by their youth and their weaknesses, because OKC does collapse under physicality, and you can make it very difficult for them in the half court and even just getting the ball up the court. If Minnesota implements the right matchups, the right schemes, and just plays as physical as they have all playoffs, they have a chance. They need to embrace OKC's identity. They need to beat them at their own game, right? I don't think Minnesota's going to win this series. I think OKC is going to win in 7. maybe even 6. But Minnesota, if they can do what OKC does to other people to OKC, which they're very capable of doing, Minnesota has a fair chance to win this in 7. But yeah, let's talk about what we're really here for real quick before I just end the video. Anthony Edwards versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player in the series. Anthony Edwards, he has been electric. This is the All NBA first team backcourt this year. One of them's going to win their first Western Conference Finals MVP unless the Timberwolves win and Julius Randle goes off. I don't see anybody else on the Thunder winning it besides SGA. I can see Julius Randle winning it, but yeah. Anthony Edwards, he's going to be electric. I want to see how he can handle the double teams since he's going to get double teamed all series. Every scheme is going to be around double teaming him and taking the ball out of his hands because they know, as the Thunder, they know they can make the Timberwolves shoot a high volume of threes, and Timberwolves are not going to make a high volume of threes unless they're wide open. But OKC's defense is good enough to contest all those threes. So it's going to be very difficult for Minnesota to really compete if Anthony Edwards doesn't just take over and dominate the double teams. It doesn't even have to be scoring. It just has to be reads that don't automatically lead to a 3-point shot. Because if they rely on the 3-point shot, the Timberwolves are going to get burnt by OKC, since that's exactly what OKC wants. Now, SGA is going to have to deal with Jaden McDaniels. His length is bothersome. Anthony Edwards is going to guard SGA. SGA has struggled with physicality. He struggled against the Nuggets a little bit earlier in the series, not so much towards the end, but SGA has a tendency to struggle with physicality. So I'm looking at that and I'm seeing, okay, Minnesota is going to be physical. You're going to put Anthony Edwards on him in big moments. You're going to have Jaden McDaniels being the pesky defender he is. You're going to have to run Dante DiVincenzo on him, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. SGA, you're really going to have to be better under physicality and under pressure than you have been in the Denver series, because in the Denver series early especially, it was brutal. And now you got Rudy Gobert, an actual shot blocking center there. There was no shot blocker for Denver. Now you're going to have to deal with that. Now Isaiah Hartenstein is as good as anybody at clearing people out, but when it comes to time to it, SGA, you're going to have to take over. And I really need to see what you're going to do, because we know your co-stars are very inconsistent, but you're going to be the MVP this year. We need to see why. But ultimately, Anthony Edwards versus SGA is going to be disappointing because Anthony Edwards is going to get double teamed the whole entire series, and he's not going to get off for those explosive scoring games. But with that double team, you also have the well-connected Timberwolves team that is just going to find a way to win 3 games and make it so there aren't scenarios where Anthony Edwards can be double teamed the whole time, because they're going to have to respect everybody else on the team eventually. And that's why I ultimately think Minnesota's going to take 3 games, but OKC, they're just too good. They're too much for Denver. Not Denver, for Minnesota. OKC will win this series in 7 games. It's going to be the best series of the playoffs, as every game is going to go down the wire. I do have SGA taking home the Western Conference Finals MVP trophy, but Anthony Edwards, this is how legends are made. 6 seed finals run, make it, and we'll have some serious conversations about you. If y'all enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all stay safe. Have a good one. Don't forget to comment down below who you got winning this series. As I said, I got Thunder in 7. It's going to be a 7-game series, at worst 6. But yeah, get ready. Get your popcorn ready. Every game's going to be great.